Okay, this is lesson 29, multiplying by multiples of 10 and multiples of 100. So a multiple is a product of a counting number and another number. The multiples of 3 are 3 times 1 is 3, 3 times 2 is 6, 3 times 3 is 9, 3 times 4 is 12, and so on. So the multiples of 3 are 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21. The multiples of 10, you can see I just multiply by 1, by 2, by 3, are 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. And the multiples of 100 are 100 times 1 is 100, 100 times 2 is 200, 100 times 3 is 300, and so on. So those are multiples. Now we're going to learn how to use that just a little bit. So they're telling you to think about the problem 25 times 30. Not that hard, but kind of hard. But if I think of 25 as a quarter, and I have 3 quarters, 25 times 3, I have 75, right? 75 cents maybe, right? So that's much easier to think about 25 times 3. And if I can then say that's 75 times 10, all I do is slap a 0 on the back, so it's 750. So because 3 times 10 is 30, I can break that 30 apart and do it in 2 separate steps. So that's easy. I can do that. A lot of times you do that in your head. Let's see, 12 times 20. I can do 12 times 2 is 24. And then slap a 0 on the end because it was a 20. So 240. Now we're going to talk about hanging zeros. And this is another way to do it if you're going to do it on paper. So 25 times 30. Normally, I would line up so I have all my 1s and my 10s together, but because that's a 0, a multiple of 10 or a multiple of 100, I can just hang that 0 off the back, bring it down, and then not think about it anymore. So now I can just kind of pretend like that's my problem, 25 times 3. So 3 times 5 is 15, carry the 1. 3 times 2 is 6, 7, so 750, and then that 0 is on there. So let's do a harder one. 25 times 3 million. I'm just going to bring these zeros down, and then I don't have to think about them anymore. So 3 times 25, I've already found, is 775. So look, I have 75 million. Sounds like a really big number, but I don't need to worry about it, do I? Cool. Okay, example 1, they want you to multiply 37 times 40. I can't easily do 4 times 37 in my head. I do things way better on paper. But I'm going to go ahead and write it out with my hanging 0 on the back end. So I'm going to bring that down, then not worry about it. 4 times 7 is 28. So carry the 2. 4 times 3 is 12, 13, 14. And now my 0 comes back into play so that I know that 40 times 37 is 1,480. Okay. Example 2 is doing the same thing, but there's a decimal in there. So remember, when you're multiplying decimals, I want you to draw a little line under the numbers behind the decimal place. How many are there? There's 2 of them, right? Okay, so now I'm not going to worry about it for a minute. Bring that 0 down. 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 7 is 7. 1 times 3 is 3. Okay, what do I do with that decimal? I have 2 decimal places, 2 numbers behind the decimal. I have the same thing in my answer. So I want 2 numbers behind the decimal. So I see that my answer is $37.50. Okay, and I could still, even with the decimal, I can still have that hanging 0. Now, could I, let's see, let's do 37 times 402. Can I do that? No. It has to, if you're going to use that hanging 0 thing, so no, 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 no. It has to be a multiple of 10 or a multiple of 100 or a multiple of whatever. zeros on the end only, right? So is a million a multiple of 10? Yes. So make sure that the only thing on the end is the 0. Okay, so don't worry about it unless it's like that. And that's lesson 29, so I think it shouldn't be too hard. Break it apart, practice your mental math if you can. See if you can find ways to multiply some of those bigger numbers by breaking them apart and do it in your head. You don't have to do it in your head, but boy, it sure is faster if you can work it that way. So good luck.